Reddit, what's your best / funniest personal example of petty revenge? This happened a while back. Study hall in 8th grade actually. I always brought 2 small sandwiches to school, so I could have one at lunch and one in study hall, since our teacher let us eat in that class. One day as I was about to eat my sandwich, I get up to use the bathroom. As I walk back in the classroom, I see the kid in front of me eating my sandwich. I was pretty annoyed but nothing serious at this point, so I confront him politely, and he denies it completely. I left my sandwich on my desk the next day, just to make sure it was him, and what do you know, it is. So on the 3rd day, I hatched a plan. I put habanero cheese on my sandwich, and then doused it all in ghost pepper sauce. That shit was everywhere, but it luckily didn't smell spicy. I get to study hall and my plan works flawlessly. I leave my trap sandwich on my desk and get up to use the restroom. This time I take as long as I can and end up wandering the halls of the school. I did this because my study hall teacher was anal about the hall pass and only one guy was allowed to leave the class at a time, even for water. After about 10 minutes I come back into the class to be greeted by the sandwich thief crying hysterically with a bright red face waiting for the hall pass. He was in the bathroom for the rest of the day. As a spicy food lover, I highly approve of this revenge. Posted this previously. My ex cheated with a married man. He now lives with her. He is a pose. But anyway, I still have login for her DVR. I logged in, erased all her shows, then recorded only the show Cheaters. Petty, but it makes me laugh. Edit, additional info. I also set the show to be manually erased and stop recording 3 hours after the show's end time. A guy at work pissed me off. I placed this Craigslist ad with his phone number. 2 free goats. Habla Español. He spent the rest of the day getting calls every 15 minutes or so. Did this a few years ago, only it was a personal ad saying they were an African American BBW who just wanted to get my holes filled. I used their work direct line. My mom had a fantastic one. She was a language teacher at my high school and years after I had graduated, she called me kind of upset because a group of guys was trying to make her look dumb. The class was supposed to write one of those team dialogues in Spanish and had a week or so to prepare it, then had to perform it in front of the class. When she called for them to do this, they said, "But we already did ours, we are not doing it again." She said, "You definitely didn't do it. I don't have any record of it here, and I would remember it if you had." They refused to do it, insisting they already performed it and that it was her fault she didn't take notes / scores down. She was feeling puzzled and questioning herself when one of the good kids came and said they didn't do it. They were bragging about making you look stupid and threatened the whole class if they told you anything. But please don't tell them I told you this. I don't want any problems with them. These were those stereotypical dumb jock types who everyone was scared of for whatever reason. My mom was really into yoga at the time and got a great idea while meditating. She went in the next day and said, "Boys, I owe you an apology. I found my notes on your presentation, and I do remember it. I don't know how I forgot." She went on to describe all the grammatical mistakes they made, that their dialogue hadn't been as long as required, that they didn't include the necessary vocabulary, etc. All made up. She failed them all on the project and they couldn't do a thing about it without admitting they'd made it all up. TL. Doctor, my mom is awesome. I was waiting for she told them it had been so good that they'd been selected to present it during a school assembly the next day, but this was better. Kid stole my water bottle. I opened it up and left it inside his backpack. When I was a kid I had a bedwetting problem. I'm not ashamed of this now, as thousands of other kids have had the same problems. At the time however, this was humiliating. My younger brother started telling other kids around school how extensive the issue was. I was mortified. Even after our mother told him to knock it off, he continued. So I decided to level the playing field. The whole handing cup of warm water deal didn't work. I stood over him as he slept one night and pissed on him. The next morning, my mom was horrified and wound up taking a call from my grandmother. "I don't know what to do. Now both of them are pissing the bed," she explained, clearly frustrated. After a few more times of framing my brother as a bedwetter, he completely stopped using my embarrassing problem as entertainment. This reminds me of South Park. Put his hand in a warm cup of water and then pee on him. Apostrophe. Had a chief warrant officer in Iraq throw a bottle of petroleum jelly at me after I got done ranting about something I've long since forgot told me to go take care of it and come back when I feel better. During his afternoon siesta I spent an hour covering everything on his desk with it in the most inconspicuous spots, e.g. inside the handle of a coffee mug, underneath the handle of the Keurig pod loader, behind the canister holding Keurig coffee pods, anywhere he could grab something and not see it without first inspecting it. He came back and proceeded to curse at a rate never witnessed before, as he had to continuously wipe all the jelly off his hands every 3 minutes. He caught the jelly on the inside rims of his over-the-ear headphones before he rimmed his ears with it, but the best came after I let him calm down and get back to work. Everyone else in the office watched me do it. No one said a thing, but they all had their eyes on me as I waited 5 minutes before picking up my phone on my desk and slowly dialed the number at his desk. It rings. Everyone turns to look at him. He's on the computer, picks up the phone, slaps it to his ear. Radio Battalion Simerson off the bitch. Turns his head. Ear was caked full of petroleum jelly I had dumped all over the earpiece of the phone. Master Guns and Major told me these antics and pranks made that deployment. CWO Ryan, if you're reading this, sorry, not sorry. A+ following of orders. Speeding up a co-worker's double-click speed and watch him squirm when his normal double-clicking speed isn't working. Somebody once changed the mouse pointer on my chef's computer to the loading animation. We scratched our heads for a while before figuring it out. I have to admit, it was hilarious watching his mild irritation every day. Take a screenshot of desktop. Set as background. Hide all icons and taskbar. Another fun one is to set the browser shortcut to shut down the computer edit. I think the desktop screenshot only works on anything under Windows 8. Don't think you can hide and lock the taskbar on 8/1/10. When we used to do it, the computers were running SpidIt. Oh my god, my inbox hurts. In 7th grade I used to take homemade lunch to school. We prepared our own salad dressing, lemon juice, salt, oil, etc. And one kid decided it would be good to steal it and drink it before lunchtime. I asked him not to, but he continued to drink it, but started doing so in one gulp, so I couldn't stop him. So instead of making a huge deal, I prepared 2 salad dressings. One that I would actually use on my salad, and another that had all the liquid condiments I could find in my mum's kitchen. It was really fun to see his face as he drank it. He never stole my salad dressing again. Edit. To answer some questions, it was a type of vinaigrette. As someone said below, it's nice to taste a little when preparing. As you can imagine, it wasn't the first time it had happened, and I had already asked him to stop. By then it was more of a "what are you going to do about it?" rather than anything else. He got what he deserved. Who the duck decides it's a good idea to drink salad dressing? Oil is like an Italian's lifeblood. Same with Americans. That's why we invaded the Middle East. Obligatory, not me, but this is a little long, but one of my all-time favorites. In Texas, there is a law that allows the US to take certain possessions to satisfy a debt owed, such as from a lawsuit. So this defendant had been committing Medicare fraud, got caught, has to pay back the money. He's also a total prick during the lawsuit, obstructionist, rude, etc. When the US finally has its judgment and he's pleading poverty, the US attorney that ran the suit basically ends up walking through the impoverished guy's multi-million-dollar house to handpick what is going to be seized. He takes the big ticket items that he's allowed, but it's not going to be enough, so then he just starts taking little shit to piss the guy off. Book half read on the nightstand? Gone. Can't take the garage, but you can take the garage door opener, so gone. I don't know what else he took, but I think the idea is brilliant. The book would piss me off so much. Let's see. TV remotes, pillowcases, all the spoons, but leave the forks, the doormat so no one can wipe their feet, the batteries out of the smoke detectors, and any nice picture frames, leaving the photos of course. I would also sell the toilet paper, the toothbrushes, and the left shoe from every pair he owned. But I'm guessing personal effects were immune. Take the forks and knives. I'll leave the spoons. You ever try to eat spaghetti with a spoon? Or cut a steak with one? Take all the larger spoons, leaving him with the tiny ones. My favorite childhood story. So I was an app kid and had a bunch of app friends and also was in sports and theater. I had a large bunch of friends in nearly every cliche. Anyway, one day, one of my friends gets sucker punched in the holes by some deckward. Because of the school's zero tolerance policy, getting sucker punched carries the same punishment as sucker punching. So my friend and the deckward both got in school suspension, but only one of them was punched on the face. I thought that was a little bit unfair. So I got my friends together, and they got their friends together, and every week, one of us would sucker punch deckward. Every week, one of us would have ice, and so would deckward, but since we are many, none of us went to ice twice. Deckward on the other hand missed so much class, that he had to retake the grade. This is so savage. I'm glad I scrolled this far down.